All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Trek Drake Session 4, an actual play of Star Trek Adventures by Modiphius Entertainment. My name's ELH, the Game Master, and joining me are a lovely group of individuals. I don't have any announcements, so we are literally just going to go straight to the introductions. So, Peter, if you'd start us off.
Hey everyone, I'm Peter, or Petrus Aquinas. I play Captain Thalen, the captain of the Drake, although this time I'm playing a supporting character.
Shocking, I know.
I know. Ooh.
Yeah, you're a spy. You're up next.
I'm your spy. I play Lieutenant Commander Adrian A.C. Chatham, the ship's chief engineer. We'll find out what interesting, fun things I can get into once they get me out of my comfort zone and onto a planet.
Very nice, Jeff.
I'm Jeff, also known as Sunbay Online, and I am playing the human exo Commander Tucker Cole.
And certainly last but not least, Dr. Nem.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nemesis, also known as Randy. I'm playing the Chief Medical Officer of the Drake, Early Langerhausen.
Very nice. And Dr. Early, I believe you actually have our opening log, so if you would take us away.
Chief Medical Officer's log, stardate 0584.1, I believe. The Drake's en route to a planet called Tangal 4 to check on the archaeological research team station there. They recently reported in their last dispatch that they had found something beneath the ice, but a breakout of some sort of unknown plague occurred at the same time. The Drake's mission is to determine if this plague can be cured and whether or not the discovery of whatever they found under the ice merits quarantining the planet. Also, hoping we can save as many lives as possible.
All right. So, we're actually going to start with a literal cold open, where we see the Drake sort of fly into view above the surface of a frozen world. Now, this world, Tangle 4, is barely Class M at this point. It's got breathable atmosphere, but it is quite literally an ice ball. You have two large continents on it, and some of the oceans that's in between are kind of coated in ice. And if you look really carefully, or if you were to look on the view screen on the bridge, you would see the ruins of a long lost civilization. But where we go is we zoom in on one of the continents to one of the mountain ranges, and we go through the mountain into a Federation outpost, where beaming in are our four characters for the evening. Now, each of you is equipped for free with cold weather gear, but I leave it up to your discretion whether or not you actually want to have full contained environmental suits. You would have to pay one opportunity cost for the environmental suits, so it would be that one momentum you already have from chat if you want them, but you get cold weather gear for free.
Well, I definitely want one because I'm going to be the one mostly working with infected folks. But
Okay.
I suspect we can do with only one other person having one, and they can be my designated hot zone nurse if need be.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll throw you a bone here. If you do want to spend the momentum for it, the whole away team could come equipped with them. So it's not a per person thing.
Absolutely, let's do that.
Sure.
Okay.
And done.
All right, so do note that unless I'm misremembering, and this will be important for reasons that are probably spoilers, while you're in an environmental suit, you have a resistance rating of 1. So just keep that in mind. If you ever take damage, you have a resistance rating of 1, which means you take 1 off whatever damage I throw at you.
Are you implying we're going to take damage on this planet?
Maybe. But yeah, to sort of give you a description of what you're looking at when you beam in, is the outpost is one of those modular designs like, and this is, another sci-fi reference, but it's sort of like Mass Effect, where they always have like those boxy sort of like modular outposts where it's just a box and then another box and then a cylindrical corridor and then another box. It's kind of like that. But where you beam in is the actual control room of the facility. And what you notice is, well, thanks to your environmental suits, you don't really feel the cold, but the faceplates of your environmental suits do immediately sort of frost up, just for a moment, though, that doesn't stick. But you notice that you are in a circular room, and you're coming off a transporter pad that is located, I guess, if we're looking at the circle from top down, the transporter pad is to the right. The main control console for the outpost is to the left. In the middle is just an open space where people can come and go. To the top of the circle, there is one door that is slightly ajar. And to the bottom of the circle, there is another door that you're pretty sure is blood, though you don't really know if it's human blood. It's a greenish color, but it's kind of looking like somebody had a bit of a blood splatter, if you catch my drift. But you're not seeing any bodies. The lights are sort of flickering, and what you're noticing is that it is dead quiet. Like, not even the life support systems or any sort of functioning material is working right now. In fact, if you were to look at the control console across the room from you, you would notice that the computer console is not powered at the moment. But that's where you beam in, and let me know if you have any questions.
Early would like to draw his medical tricorder and point it in the little probe in the direction of the blood splatter to analyze it, while saying, I sure hope that somebody killed a mother of all mosquitoes over here.
All right, well, let's have the first roll of the session. If you could give me a reason and a medicine, difficulty of 0.
Reason, medicine. That is definitely one of my things.
I would hope it is.
And Cole has his phaser out, providing cover just in case.
I'm assuming my focus of survivalism would matter as well as emergency medicine.
I would give it to you, yeah.
Let's give her a shot.
Let's see. So it looks like you got the 1 success, so that's your 1 momentum back. And yeah, what I would tell you is that not only are you able to identify the blood, it is Andorian, but you are also able to trace it to the Andorian officer that was assigned to this outpost, a man by the name of Shoutout.
Commander Cole, this appears to be Andorian blood. Somebody named Shoutout. Ballpark, how old is it, do I know? Like, how long has it been here?
I'll give it to you free. It is about a week, which is about the same time you got the original transmission to come here.
Looks like it's about a week old, so right around the time we got summoned out this way.
What were the other races of the members of this archaeological team?
Well, either you guys can make it up, or I can fill in the blanks, whichever you'd prefer.
But
there are 6 in general.
It was mostly Vulcans, I believe, but at least 1 human, 1 Andorian.
To draw blood on an Andorian in a cold environment is not an easy feat.
No, it may be that the symptoms of this disorder involve bleeding easily or coughing up blood, but I think we should all be on our guard, sir.
Not a problem. Do you have any life signs?
It may be best if we can get the station systems up and check.
On that note, I will break out my tricorder and see if there's any power nearby.
Sure, give me a reason engineering difficulty of 0. And don't worry, Peter, we'll get to introduce your supporting character in just a moment.
We're good.
I don't like how quiet it is. A station full of sick people is usually a little subdued, but not silent.
All right. Hey, there's 1 success on Lieutenant Commander AC. So, AC, the good news is that the reactor is intact, and that presumably you could get it running again. But the bad news is that you're going to have to beam down some control consoles from your orbital ship. Now, that's not really an issue. You have a clear line from surface to ship right now. You could get the captain on the horn or anyone on the horn and beam down whatever you need. But just, you do have to beam down supplies and then manually work on them to get it running again. And to make matters worse, the reactor is behind that sealed door that currently has no power.
Is the... I have an engineering toolkit. Is the panel damaged or just unpowered?
I would say with your success and an engineering tricorder, when you go to scan the control console, you notice that there is some, we'll say, this isn't a proper electrical term, but there's some disruptions to the conduit on the underside of the paneling. So you kind of have like a standard computer keyboard, and then underneath of that, where the desk ends, kind of a thing. So if you look under that, and you would see that where keyboard wires would be, the wires have either been cut or severed. But as you're looking at them, you're like, are those like human fingernail marks? Are those claw marks? Like, what are those?
Sir, it looks like the panel's been. It looks like the controls here have been disconnected from the station, from the greater station systems. I'm gonna need some parts and probably power cells from the ship. Permission to reach out. Permission to communicate with the ship.
Yeah, by all means.
I'm on mute. AC, where are you going to need to be doing work when you get this stuff down here? I'd like to clean that room out first so you don't have to work in your spacesuit. I mean, technically, any suit you wear is a spacesuit. You live on a spaceship. In your antimicrobial shower curtain suit.
Doc, I grew up in and out of these things. I'll make it.
Okay.
I appreciate the thought, however.
Yep.
And I will be working over here. Gesture to the place where I plan on setting these things up.
Okay.
So I'll poke around to see if I see any signs of, like, microbes in the atmosphere or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, even based on your earlier success, you're not detecting any foreign contaminants. At least, if there are any, it's not showing on your tricorder.
So far, so good. I think, nothing obvious is a pathogenic around here.
Chatham to Drake.
Drake here.
Captain, I'm going to need 2 Class 2 panels. I know we don't have the exact civilian design, but I think I can make the Starfleet ones work. And 4 Type 3 power cells.
All right, I'm sure we have them on hand. I'll calm down to engineering and have them beam down momentarily.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Out here.
And while you're coordinating all that, I'm curious what our supporting character is doing, if you'd care to introduce them, since they're going to be starring for quite a bit.
Yes. So you see a human with brown hair, kind of slicked back. It's a little longer. Since we do have drugs that people aren't always going along with, he is wearing glasses, so that's a little different. It's Ensign Daniel Carlin, and he is as everyone's kind of doing their thing, looking at all the stuff, he's starting to try to see closer to where the archaeological dig is, and he's pulling out his tricorder and doing a little bit of scan. Yes, he is allergic to Retinax 5, as I see in the chat.
Nice.
So, Carlin, coming on our way down here, I saw a bunch of ruins. Could that be what they discovered under the ice, like a heretofore unseen site of ruins?
Yes, actually, this location has quite some very interesting ruins. I was doing a little bit of reading on it before we got here. There's not a lot that they have published quite yet, but it's a very, very fascinating brand new dig. So it's very exciting.
All right. Well, good opportunity for you.
It's right about then that your power cells and paneling beam in, and I now have a chance to use the complication the chat gave me.
Oh, no.
When the power cells and paneling beam in, the transporter pad disables, or it basically shuts off as the last power the outpost had is used up.
That's not supposed to do that, right?
No, it looks like we're down until I can restore power to at least this part of the facility. Looks like we're on our own.
Great.
And to make matters worse, Mr. AC, the power cells that you have are enough to power a console, not enough to power any systems. So if you want to get the doors open, life support running, anything, you got to get that reactor running.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's super cold out there. How long before life support being down causes us to get chilly?
In environmental suits, we should be all right. Shouldn't we? It's more of an out of character ask.
Prepare,
Well,
but the suits have their own power supply too. So it keeps us warm.
I mean, there's a certain amount of cold they can handle and a certain amount of cold they can't.
Yeah. Now, even though we lost the transporter pad here, can't the Enterprise still transport directly here, but just a little
It's
bit
more
harder?
difficult. Yeah, it's more difficult, and I'm rolling in private, but basically it's harder for them, so there's a chance they could fail now.
Sir, I think so. I think there's some interference in the area that would make that more difficult. We were relying on the transporter system on this side to boost our signal enough for it to function.
Hopefully we'll do what we can here, and hopefully we'll be able to find some other type of power supply on the base before it gets too bad. We can use the Enterprise as last resort.
All right, Commander Cole. Well, if you're going to report that back to the captain, I'm going to start investigating, try and figure out where the crew got to. If that's all right.
I'll come with you, Doctor, if that's all right.
Oh, I wasn't going to go by myself. This place gives me the willies.
Yeah, don't stray too far.
Sure enough. You got a phaser there, Ensign?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Well, keep it in your belt. I don't get shot in the back.
Narrowly.
Give me 1 second. I got a cat that wants on the lap. One moment. Yeah, I currently have noise suppression on, so you can't hear the cat, but she is just, oh, you're streaming, so I guess that means I have to be involved now. Anyway, my question is, again, there's 2 doors out of here. One of the doors leads to the reactor and is sealed shut. That's the one with the blood on it. And then there's the other door, which is like half ajar, that presumably leads into, if you read the schematics of the outpost correctly, leads into the medical bay, which is probably where you want to go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, reactor's the last place I would expect to find sick people, so yeah.
Okay. So the only thing I'm going to ask is that, and there's a reason I'm having you do so many tasks, the only thing I'm going to ask to get the door open is a fitness security task. And the difficulty is a 1, and the good ensign can assist you on this. And this is basically you pulling the door open, kind of a thing, or using the emergency, powered pneumatic lock, if you will.
Absolutely.
Well, the ensign is no help.
Yeah, ensign's not helping, unfortunately.
Dr. Early, having grown up as an outdoorsy fellow, is surprisingly robust, physically speaking, if not quick on his feet. But I do not have an applicable focus, so I shall be rolling my 3 security plus my 10 fitness.
Hey, you get 2 successes, so you actually get a momentum off that. So yeah.
Oh, disk track order.
Pretty much, yeah. So I have good news and bad news on what you see on the other side of the door. What you're seeing is that there is a small infirmary, but it's like a tornado blew through here. You're seeing medicine, equipment, chunks of regulation rocks that are in all bulkheads. This place is in severe disarray. And to make matters worse, on the main operating table, the main sort of bed that's in here, there's about 4 or 5 beds in here, plus a main operating table. On the main table is one of the human officers with his chest open. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but, I think you guys are probably getting what I'm putting down if I were to make an alien noise at this point.
Heavens to Betsy. All right, watch your step. We're going to go investigate this body, but you don't want to step on anything, make you fall over or stick you with a needle or something. Early gets a pretty
You
serious.
use a lot of
pretty
needles in sick bay?
Yeah, I didn't stock this joint up. Starfleet don't, but who knows what this place got. I pick my way across the rubble to the body and begin investigating it immediately with a tricorder. Mainly, I want to find out what happened to him. Goodness
Sure.
gracious.
Go ahead and give me an insight medicine difficulty of 1.
And I'm betting my emergency medicine focus matters here.
I'll give it to you. Oh, there's not only is it not a
19 and a
success,
20. Holy cow.
there's a complication.
Hang
So,
It wasn't me this time.
yeah.
on just a second. I have a thing that might work.
Oh, okay. What you
The
got?
dice have not rolled below a 10
No,
tonight.
I would have needed to have bought a die, so never mind.
Okay.
The dice have not rolled below a 10.
Yeah, the dice are just not liking you guys tonight. But yeah, what I would tell you then with a failure and a complication is that you don't know anything. In fact, when you scan with your tricorder doesn't like short out, but it doesn't return any results.
Early kind of bangs on it a little bit and then says, I'm not getting a damn thing. Or a dang thing. All right. Well, I mean, that's one person accounted for. Poor thing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and push further in. Just watch your step. Is there a blanket or any other object I can put over this dead body?
Easy enough. Yeah, you could cover the body.
Yeah, go ahead and lay that over his head and then try and find the next door to get further into the outpost.
Okay.
We got, and I shout back, one dead human accounted for so far. Back to Cole and AC.
Roger.
I think you caught him right as he put something in his mouth. That's, it's always the perils of eating on stream.
Diabolical.
I've been handling the mute perfectly until I self-muted myself.
Yeah,
Cause of death?
Extreme chest trauma, it seems. I don't think it was post-mortem, but I'm not getting much detail.
I walk on over and stick my head through the door. Did something come out or something go in?
Beats me, sir. We're going to look and see what we can find.
Okay. Because AC found on that control panel like it was ripped out by hand.
Like some sort of dangerous predatory animal. Yeah.
Found scratches on the inside, so don't know. And plus, the Endorian officer was downed.
So there's a creature that could still be around here.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna spend 2 threat that a panel falls from the ceiling right next to you, Ensign, and I need to either give you. I either need the best girly scream you can give me, or just some way that the Ensign responds to this sudden panel falling. There you go.
Ooh. All right, everybody. Might be reconsidering the whole "don't draw your phaser" thing.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on. I can't leave AC by himself while he's got his head stuck inside different panels and access ways.
Right you are, sir. Buddy system it is. Come on, Carlin.
Yes, sir.
How many options do we have door-wise to go deeper into the outpost?
You have 2. One you see is labeled hydroponics. The other is labeled habitat. And the good news is that both doors, while not powered, doesn't look like it's going to require you forcing the door open. Apparently, it's one of those things where the door closed and it just lost power, so you can just easily get open, whereas the door to get in here was like half ajar, so that's why you had to force it open.
All right, I'm going to open it up on 3. You ready?
Which door?
Yeah.
The habitat. Sorry, yeah.
Habitat. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Open it up. See anything?
All right. I have to ask, which one of you is in the lead?
Me. Definitely me.
Okay. A body falls on top of you.
Okay.
Carlin jumps back like a good foot, too.
I'm assuming falls on top of me in a way that startles me more than crushes me to death.
Yeah. And just to add to a little bit of grisly detail, wet blood actually streams across your faceplate as it's fresh blood. It's not frozen blood. I want to be very clear on that. But the blood sort of smears across your faceplate and down your suit. And the individual, a human, falls to the ground. He's not moving, but a quick scan of your medical tricorder reveals that he is on the precipice of living.
Early freaks out until he notices that on his tricorder life signs exist. All right. Quick. Let's see if we can't stabilize him. I'm going to attempt to work on him with him on the floor. I think it'll probably take too much time to try and clear off that bed that's got a dead body on it. I just start barking orders at Carlin. Hand me that thing, and scanning with my tricorder to see what I can do to stabilize this fella.
All right.
Or
Well, keep
woman,
in mind, because
whoever it be.
we're going to actually cut to the other two, because while you're doing all that, Commander Cole and Lieutenant Commander AC. So what are you two up to while that's happening at the same time?
I have got to get this door open to the station's engineering section. So what I shall likely do is I will see if I can repair the existing console, but if I can't, good thing I brought some spares and some power supplies, hopefully enough to open the door.
Fair enough. Why don't you go ahead and give me a control and engineering? I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 2.
All right, I have an appropriate tool for the studio audience. How does that help me?
Well, if you've got an appropriate tool, then I would say it reduces the difficulty down to a 1.
All right, and I have both power systems and jury rigging as foci. So
Both would
I
definitely
betcha
apply.
we will do okay.
Well, you say that now.
Well, yes.
I'm not in the room, so that you do have that going for you.
I'm just on the lookout, but I'm ready with a backup plan if we need it.
All right, hey, you get the 1 success you need.
Yes.
So yeah, good news, bad news. You do get the console working. You are able to at least power the door, but the moment you get the computer on, it's almost like every single audio log that has ever been recorded in this outpost's history begins playing at once. Now, not a very loud kind of playing, but just very low, almost like a whisper. So just imagine a cacophony of whispers of just many, many voices speaking all at once about various different things. It's almost like, it's just noise. It's white noise, as it were. Yeah, exactly.
Liberate tutame ex infernis.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, other than playing every audio log in the whole station, what can this console do? Is it just open the door, or can I get some other status from readouts from it?
Well, right now it can only open the door and provide the last log that was recorded on it, but you could spend 2 momentum and make it so that it powers more things, and I would give you more things that you could do with this console.
That sounds lovely if everyone else is on board.
I am entirely on board.
Before it.
Okay.
Intelligence is important.
All right, go ahead and spend 2 momentum then, and I think thanks to chat, you're still at 2 momentum overall. But yeah,
Oh, did they get some? Cool.
let's see, what do I want to give you here?
Thank you,
So,
chat.
when you get into the system and you maybe either mute or pause or just ignore the white noise, what you're going to notice is that there is some form of artificial intelligence in play here. And what I mean by that is when you try to do something with the console, it's like the console is actively working against you to try and prevent what you're doing. So maybe you're trying to open the door, well, it shuts off your access to some subroutine. So you try another subroutine. That one works, and then suddenly it doesn't. And you as a skilled engineer know that there is definitely something going on here. But what I'm going to also give you with that advantage is that the last log is freely available to you at any point. You just have to tell me you want to listen to it. And you are also able to tell that there is 1 remaining life sign that is not in sickbay. So there's 1 other life sign that you're detecting with the station sensors that is further in the ice, further into the outpost.
Doc, I'm reading 1 life sign further into this outpost.
Is it a Yeti?
Can't tell, sir. Or, sorry, can't tell, Doc. Sensors are not at their best right now.
The doctor's kind of busy at the moment.
Yeah, for once you don't get a snarky reply.
XO, I've got the latest log in this the run at this station that I can play back for us if you like.
Yeah. Let's go here. Let's see what they say.
We shall play the log.
So appearing on the screen is an Andorian, kind of that blue skin, little blue antenna on the head, white hair, actually longer than most Andorians. Like usually when we see an Andorian, they kind of have that short cropped white hair. This guy's kind of got like shoulder length white hair. But he is in Starfleet Blue, Science Medical Division, and he kind of he seems to be clutching his chest, and you see that there's that sort of dark Andorian blood on his uniform, and he's obviously in pain. He's obviously doing his best to deliver, a message before something happens to him, and he says, "Should pull this log. I don't know at this point. Whatever we found, it wasn't worth it. If you're hearing this, just go. Just leave us here. Just go." And the message stops, and then the last 5 seconds repeats. And right as that happens, the door that is to the reactor, there's a very, very loud, audible clang that even the people in sickbay hear.
Everybody all right back there?
Think there's something in the reactor. I think there's something in the reactor room.
Well, the log was mildly helpful.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, is it a Yeti?
Don't think so, Doc. I have no idea what it is.
Well, there's another clang, and the door dents inwards.
It's strong, whatever it is.
Do I have access to bring down the? I'm just thinking in my head. Do I have access to bring down the emergency bulkhead that would reinforce that door that would be used in the event of a reactor failure?
You would if I didn't spend 2 threat to say that you don't.
Well, sir, I can't block that door. The reactor containment system, the safety systems aren't working.
And to make matters worse, back in the doctor's room as you're operating, Ensign, the hydroponics door, big old clang.
Doctor, I think we might have a problem.
Doc, sounds like you got one too.
Hands are full, Ensign. See if you can't jam that door shut.
All right, I'm gonna go over and try to.
Use your archaeology degree.
Yeah, I'm going to use
jam
my
that door
archaeology degree to throw rocks at it. Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to see if I can reinforce the door in some way.
I would say that you could do this, but where I'm leading this all to, as you probably can guess, we're in a combat scenario at this point, but the enemies aren't on the screen yet, which means we don't really have an initiative order, whatever that means. So you guys have about 1 turn to do something before enemies start showing up, is basically where I'm going to lead you guys to. So and again, there is no turn order in this system. It's just, player, enemy. So at the moment, each of you gets 1 action. So let's just start top of the order here. What is the good ensign going to be doing? Is he still going to stick with reinforcing the door?
I think what he's going to do is going to try to turn over some of the med beds by the sickbay door to create a little bit of a barrier.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a fitness security difficulty of 1. And if you roll a complication, why? What? I mean, you get a momentum, but okay, all right.
This is a skill of mine.
The dice giveth. And the dice taketh.
If I had a real life character sheet, my talent would be critical failure.
So, hey, I also get a complication from chat. I'm gonna bank that.
Oh no.
So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is, you throw a few tables and a few beds against that door to hydroponics, but in the process, you knock over the body that was on the main table, and there is just a flap sound as it hits the ground, and the resulting spray of various fluids hits Dr. Early in the back of the head. So Dr. Early, whatever task you attempt next has an increased complication range because you just got hit in the back of the head with you don't want to know. Good job, Ensign. You've exceeded my expectations.
Sorry.
Sure we didn't bring Ricky?
Well, Let's go to AC. What would you like to do for your free turn?
I would like to electrify the door.
Interesting. Go ahead and give me a daring and engineering difficulty of 2.
I will spend a momentum.
This is the reactor door, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I have power cells, and the door is currently powered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to electrify the door. Task. Focus of jury rigging.
Surely,
And power
surely not another
systems.
complication. Surely.
Mm.
Okay, no, that's the
door is
complete
a-
opposite. That is 5 successes, so you now get 3 momentum back. Very nice. So yeah, you electrify the door, and you don't hear like a cry of pain or anything, but you do hear a less loud sound that kind of sounds like something dropping, like something big and metallic dropping to the ground.
I would like to create an advantage, please.
Okay, what advantage do you want to make?
By making this something that I can trigger on and off.
Okay, sure. Spend the 2 momentum, and it'll happen.
Since I just got a lot, I figured that'll be good.
Cool. Let's go back to Dr. Early. Dr. Early, besides the stuff on the back of your head, what are you doing?
I'm attempting to figure out whether or not how much further intervention medically this guy's going to need before I can consider him stable and pay attention to my surroundings, because I'm not going to leave this guy to die just to get into a fight.
Right. I would say that there's 2 ways we can go about this, and this is something I offer every Star Trek Adventures group I run. We can either do an extended task, which is going to be kind of, it takes time, or I can offer you a single shot high difficulty task that will take quote unquote 1 turn to do. So it's kind of what you feel comfortable doing.
I'd rather do the extended task, because the only time we've done that in the past, it was with AC, who's got like a lot of real special advantages there, and I don't have any. I just have my normal stats as a doctor. So I'd like to see what it's like to do an extended task with a medium competent.
Sure, let me just type it out here. So the work track is going to be 12. The magnitude is going to be 3, which means you need 3 breakthroughs to complete the extended task. The base difficulty is going to be a 3. And I'm also going to note that there is a complication range increase because you are working in an environmental suit. There is a +1. So overall right now, thanks to the stuff on the back of your head, you're at a 17 to 20. So keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say there's actually 1 resist. I'm not going to give you resistance. I don't think resistance is going to help you here. But that's what you're looking at. And I'll update that as you succeed at it. So again, since this is your first extended task, I'll walk you through it. So like a normal task, you basically elect how you're approaching the situation, and then we'll translate it to a appropriate role, and we'll just sort of see what happens after that.
Ensign, I hate to tell you, but you're going to have to manage whatever's going on over there by yourself. This man's life is hanging in the balance.
All right.
And my initial roll comes up when the combat starts, or
you do it now. We'll give you 1 free roll against this extended task.
And you said it was reason and medicine?
Could be reason medicine, could be daring medicine. You just have to tell me what it is you're trying to do to, stabilize this man, and then I'll translate it.
I'd say controls, because I'm very scared.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, control and reason are all the same in my sheet. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I have emergency medicine as a focus. I'm going to spend 1 momentum to gain an extra die.
Okay. And of course, make sure to make your complication range. I believe it's 4 in the roller.
Yep. Alrighty, 4. 3 dice using focus.
All right. So good news. You did get 3 successes, but there's going to be a complication, and I think I know what I want that to be.
Ooh,
so
I would like to invoke my cautious medicine,
which means you can reroll that 19. And I think if you click reroll results and just put in 1, it should let you do that pretty quickly. Look at that. You turn the complication into a critical success. Very nice. So you actually get 2 momentum back, bringing you up to 4. And this is where we roll against the work track. So what is your medicine? 4 or 5?
My medicine is a 5.
Okay, you're going to roll 7 challenge dice here. So it should be performed challenge, and you'll put in 7. And this is going to represent how much work you do against the track. So that is significant.
boy.
So you do 6 work against the track. And again, in this system, when it comes to combat of any variety or extended tasks, 5 or more is the magical number. So since you succeeded, you lower the difficulty, you lower the breakthroughs you need to succeed, but you still keep the complication range. And I think the complication that I'm going to use from chat is that as you're, suturing, as you're cauterizing, as you're doing your best to stabilize this guy, what you realize is that there's metal fragments in him, like from a projectile weapon.
That don't beat all. All right, filing that away for after I've got this guy more aliver. Yep.
All right. And certainly last but not least, what is Commander Cole doing for his free option?
All right, very pleased with what the crew's doing so far. Tell AC we're going to start dropping back and protecting the dock. Now that you got the door electrified, we'll fall back and provide cover on that door, and we'll assist in covering whatever's coming in from, what was it, hydroponics?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And assist in there,
All right.
watching. And I'll kind of position myself where I can go both ways,
Okay.
kind of
Noted.
in the doorway.
So, I'm actually going to, since this is technically the second round of combat, the enemies get to go first, and the enemy is going to
Did
slam.
I use quick to action by chance? Well, doesn't matter.
I'll let you do it this turn. So once it's the player's turn, you can then use quick to action.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter since we don't have anything to play off of, so
Yeah.
I'll save it.
So what happens is there's one slam against the hydroponics door, another slam as the beds you've thrown against the door kind of jostle and fall to the wayside, and then bursting through the door is something actually rather odd. What I mean by that is it's an egg, but it's the egg the size of about a toddler. So maybe about 1 or 2 feet, maybe a little bit more. And it is matte black, like a glossy, maybe more of a gloss than a matte, but it's kind of a glossy black. And as it floats there, kind of looks at you, then it kind of opens up just a little bit to reveal what looks to be a rifle barrel of some sort. And I have opportunity of targets. I have the ensign, I have the doctor, I have the commander. So the only person I can't hit with this is the good Lieutenant Commander AC. So I'm going to do this diplomatically. I'm not going to single anybody out. I'm going to roll a 1d3. 1 is the ensign, 2 is Commander Cole, 3 is Dr. Nemesis. Well, it appears Dr. Nemesis and Dr. Early are our lucky winners. So let me see what am I rolling for this. Oh, well, that's, it'll be fine. Everything will be fine, I'm sure. Everything will be fine. That is a, what did it roll? That is
15.
a 9 and a 6. So that's not good, actually. So the rifle barrel begins to spin, almost like a Gatling gun, and a literal hail of bullets is going to fly at Dr. Early. So I now need to roll some dice here. Oh, great. It's got vicious. Oh, boy.
Does it make banging sounds like gunfire?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
explosions? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Lots and lots of... You can mix in whatever gun you have a favorite for. Just, it's making a lot of noise.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, I don't have any good news. That's 6
I have
damage.
1 point of armor for my EV suit.
Right, so it is only 5 damage, but again, what I just said, 5 is the magic number in the system. So go ahead and mark off 5 stress, but technically you just took an injury. Right now it's just a non-lethal injury, which means that you have the option of spending 2 momentum to avoid the injury, But if you don't want to spend the momentum, then technically you are knocked out of combat and out of this scene until it resolves.
I should definitely spend that momentum.
Yeah.
This man's life is still in the balance, and now maybe some more lives are in the balance.
Okay. So you're still going to keep the stress that you just took off. You just don't take the injury. So again, bullets fly and rip into the sort of the sides and the back of your environmental suit. And I'm actually going to make a bit of a threat spend here that your environmental suit is no longer sealed. It is no longer providing a sealed environment.
Oh! Shouts early as his lungs are slightly compressed and punctured.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, good news. It's now the player's turn. You have a floating egg drone of death. Who would like to go first?
I think Cole would probably go first in this instance.
He's probably way faster on his feet than me.
Yeah, let me go ahead and I was trying to figure out how I could dive in the way, but to take it, but no. But I will open fire.
Okay, so that's going to be a control security difficulty of 2 to hit the egg.
Okay. Control security.
I think this is a power stat for you, so I believe.
Yep. And I will use my bold security.
Okay, so you're going to spend at least 1 threat to roll another die. All right.
Do that to get 3 dice.
All right. Well, do you really want to? I mean, that's already 4 successes. Do you really want to re-roll any of that?
It would be what, the 16?
Yeah, I was going to say, if
Even the
anything, you'd
16 's a
re-roll the
success.
16.
Yeah, we'll leave it as is.
Okay, so that's 4 successes. You get 2 momentum back. What do you have? A type 2 or a type 1?
I have a type 2, whatever the most current. Yeah, the pistol one.
Should be yeah. Okay,
type
so if I remember correctly, that should be
8.
3 plus your security. So your security is what, a 4?
Please, it's a 5.
It's a 5. All right. Well, then you're rolling 8 challenge dice for me.
Nice.
And I'll also give you the benefit of a charge, which means you can elect to give it Vicious 1 or Piercing 1. So either doing extra damage on effects or ignoring some points of armor.
We will go with piercing because I know it's got armor of some type.
Alrighty. So let's see those 8 and oh, good lord. Good lord.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Holy
is
Oh, piercing.
yeah. So you tell me what happens, Commander Cole, because this thing's gone with this favors shop. Just tell me what happens.
Shot goes right up where the Gatling gun was coming out. There's just that small little gap in its plating. Shot goes right in there, basically bypasses the armor and hits the control cell in a little from inside the egg, and it floats
and
forward.
It falls to the ground, defunct.
1 down.
Now,
I'm going
you're
to
still
whip out
in
my
combat.
tricorder.
I was going to say, you're still in combat here, so would you like to use quick to action? Meaning somebody else could go at this instance.
How does quick to action work, out of curiosity?
Quick to action, basically, you just tell me you're using it. You get to retain the initiative for free. So it's just kind of a, oh, I wish to go again kind of a thing. But it only happens once during a round.
Oh.
Yeah, because otherwise you're spending 2 momentum to do so.
Right. And I don't know, there's nobody else. We get the doc. Yeah. Let's go ahead and spend it for the doc to go ahead and do his work track.
Okay, so quick to action has been used. It has been so noted. And yeah, Doc, you're still working on this guy. You still have the increased complication range. If you want to switch off control medicine, you can, but otherwise, just give me another control medicine, this time at a difficulty of 2.
I'm spending a momentum for an additional die.
Okay.
I am using a focus. I have 3 dice. My complication range is 4. My numlock is off. It is.
Yeah, I always hit it with numlock, yeah. Wow. Okay.
All
See, we've
right.
turned it around. We've gone from complications to overwhelming success. So yeah, that is 3 momentum, bringing you up to 5, if I calculate correctly. And yeah, go ahead and give me another 7 challenge dice. And what I'll tell you is, if you get 6 or more on this, you complete the extended task. Okay, there you go. You complete it. So
Yeah,
your
6
turn
or
to tell
more.
me how events happened. How do you finish your job, as it were, Dr. Early?
You know, we actually didn't describe this guy's injuries. I didn't want to be too morbid about it. We just said that he was freely bleeding. But do you want to tell me, like, did he have like a hole in his chest, or was it some other stuff going on with him?
Let's, because again, we want to keep it at least somewhat family friendly, quote unquote. Let's go ahead and say that he had severe lacerations on his arms, and he also did have puncture wounds, which, since you're literally hands deep in him, you can tell that they were probably from the bullets the thing fired at you.
Okay. So Early started off with tourniquets, which are, a sort of a temporary measure, but you can't leave them in place too long without, causing further problems. So he zips some tourniquets together out of stuff he's found lying around in the area. Then he closes the guy's wounds up with a lot of like emergency clips and foam. And then, just as a very last thing, kind of with his teeth, pulls the knot on both of the tourniquets at once, and the tourniquets pop off, allowing more blood flow to get to the wounded parts of him. But blood doesn't go spurting out of him now. All right, I think he's going to be fine if nobody touches him. And Early will actually kind of lean over and put Early's body between this guy and the defunct egg in case it explodes or fires again.
Okay.
And kind of just wince in a lot of pain, as he's probably freely bleeding inside his own suit and, shot. No fun. No bueno.
All right. So now I have to decide how evil as a GM I want to be.
Give in to your hate. Do it.
Yes, do it. All right, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to spend 1 threat to say that there is another clang on that electrified door. At least not on the door itself, but on like the hallway leading up to the electrified door. And then you hear muffled the sounds of the Gatling gun spin up and fire into the door. And that's going to last for an entire minute, because we're kind of loosey-goosey on the time here. But that door is not going to withstand much more gunfire at this point.
Sir, I'm out of doors.
We got to keep him away from this patient. He's still just barely hanging on.
All right. AC, when you get a chance, can you get any type of reading on what that egg is? Electrical reading on the tricorder?
I got it, sir.
Any more of these things?
Carlin's got it, sir.
I'm pretty close to it, sir. I'll take a look.
Attaboy, Ensign.
All right. So, Ensign, with your archaeology focus, if you want to give me a reason in science, I'm going to say, since this is under hazardous conditions, this is a difficulty of 3.
Is there a way I can assist? Or no, actually, we're still in action, so I've done
Yeah, we're still kind of in action, so can't quite assist him yet. It is something you can do by declaring it as your action, but it wouldn't help you in this situation.
Yeah, I'm going to use at least a momentum to get another die.
Okay.
Do we feel that I need to use more?
I think we should probably save it for when the bullets start flying again.
Yeah.
All right.
And chat just gave you another momentum, so that's good.
Oh, thank you, chat.
Cool.
I'd say go. You
May as well use 3 then.
of them. Yeah, get 4 dice.
Okay. And my focus applies here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, there's your 3 successes you needed. So what you're able to tell, Ensign, is that this is actually just your standard autonomous drone, like almost like you would see in contemporary Earth. It's just egg instead of that 4-blade rotorcopter. And it does appear to have about 400 or so bullets within its Gatling gun. So there is a limit to how much fire it can put out. But all things considered, I mean, again, since this is Star Trek, this is like ancient technology at this point.
Sir, this is like akin to a ancient drone on old Earth. Only holds about 400 bullets. It basic computer system. So it can't fire forever, but it clearly came from somewhere. It's based out of it's not entirely autonomous, I don't think.
And
Okay,
just
we're
to freak out the ensign a little bit more, the egg begins to glow with a little bit of red and says, "In true, der." And then the red light dies.
Apparently they're also very hard to kill.
Is it possible to tell if it was speaking English or if the translator was just translating it for us? Is there a way you can do that?
I would say that, it's one of those hand wavy things. You would know that that is the universal translator.
Okay.
But yeah.
If I were to do a closer inspection on it, would I see are there any markings on it, or is the eggshell smooth-ish?
Run that by me again, because I had a jet fly over my house.
Okay. If I were to examine the egg visually, are there any markings or writing of sorts on it?
There is, yeah. There is one large glyph that sort of looks like a combination of a Korean and a Chinese character, but it doesn't really match any known language that you're aware of. And in fact, if you were to pull out your tricorder and scan it with the tricorder, the universal translator would be like, I got nothing to go on.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I'll have to work on this a little bit later when we get more data.
And since I'm being evil GM, we go back to the enemy's turn. That door you electrified bursts open, and in come one. Well, so when the door bursts open, one drone floats in, but the second drone in the corridor is behind it. It used its turn to blow open the door. A third drone is on the floor, so you did knock out one with your door trick, so you got one. But now I have to choose between AC and Cole. So again, I'm going to be diplomatic. AC, you are 1. Cole, you are 2. So let's see what happens. Well, AC, you seem to be our lucky winner for the evening. So let me go ahead and roll. What did they roll? An 8 and a 14. That is not enough. Unfortunately, that is only one success. So the Gatling gun comes open and sprays in your general direction, AC, but are you dodging? Are you weaving? Are you diving behind a console?
I'm hiding behind one of the consoles that got beamed down. So I'll buy that one being destroyed.
Okay. I will, fair enough. So yeah, you just kind of duck behind cover, dive behind cover, bullets whizzing everywhere, but none actually hit you. So that's the good news. And now it's your turn.
I suppose I will draw and fire back at the one that's shooting at me.
Sure. That's going to be a control security difficulty of 2.
You
And what
give
I would
a
tell you,
charge.
I was going to say, charge has the ability to do an area of effect. So if you charge this shot, you could potentially hit both drones here.
I will do that.
Okay.
What's the downside to charge? Does it make it harder to hit, or?
No, it just means that charge is one of those things where you get to choose between 4 or 5 different effects. So it's vicious 1, piercing 1, area, spread. So there's ups and downs to each one. But yeah, with two successes, that's enough. So what is your security?
2. So I get
You're rolling me a grand total of
dice.
5 challenge dice.
Yay.
All right, so good news. You did roll an effect, which means area does trigger. However, that's only 3 damage against an unknown resistance / armor.
How much can we spend momentum to reroll those dice? I know we can in the Fallout
You
version of
can
this.
spend 1 momentum to reroll as many dice as you wish. It doesn't have to be just the 3 blanks.
I will do that and re-roll the 3.
Yeah.
Okay. See what happens.
Oh,
Okay.
That is significantly better. All right. So you whip out your phaser. You kind of peek away, peek around the console you're hiding behind. You squeeze off a shot. And thanks to putting it on wide beam, you actually take down both drones. And we are out of combat. So you guys are free to move about the cabin.
I would like to attempt a task, thereby employing my walking encyclopedia ability.
Okay.
I want to determine how I think these drones work. Mainly out of character, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how they tell friend from foe.
Okay.
Because they very clearly think we're intruders, right? So what would the task be? And
That's what I'm thinking.
And I'm thinking my additional focus would be something like 21st century security systems or antique drone combat, maybe something like that.
Something like that. Let me ask this, because I don't want to invalidate your use of the talent, but I want to make sure you are set up to succeed here. What is your security score?
3.
Okay. So this focus would allow you to crit on a 3 or lower, but what I'm going to tell you is it is an insight security, and it's going to be a difficulty of 4 in order to figure that information out.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it just seems like the sort of thing Early would be interested in anyway. He used to be a competitive marksman, so knowing how like old flying gun systems worked would be something he might have spent a weekend reading up on.
Mm-hmm.
So let me add that temporary focus.
And Commander Cole, I would say that if you wish to assist the good doctor, you certainly could do so. That is your area of expertise.
Just getting ready to ask. Yes, sir.
Again,
so
it is difficulty of 4.
Insight plus security. I am going to spend 1 momentum.
Okay, that'll bring you to 3.
Can I give you a threat for another die?
You would have to give me 2 threat or 1 momentum and 1 threat in order to do that.
I'll do the 1 momentum, 1 threat.
Okay. So
that gives me 4 dice total.
Yes. And I believe if I have it right, you were back down at 0 momentum if I've been tracking it correctly.
I was just clicking as I went, so I don't know, but I clicked 2 off of a 4.
No, unless I'm counting wrong, you should be at 0 momentum right now.
Okay. Yep, I probably messed up. I mean, there's the potential that more of us were clicking than just me, and I got mixed up in the middle there. My complication range is extended by 1 on this one because walking encyclopedia doesn't make me a real expert.
But you still have the shot, so that actually is going to be 4 successes, what you need, but there is going to be that complication. So Commander Cole and Dr. Early...
Is there a complication?
There is, that's 17.
Yeah, because the range was extended.
Yep.
Oh, because my range is still extended because I'm all messed up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're totally right. Forgot about that.
Yep. So the good news, Commander Cole and Dr. Early, is that you are able to identify that the targeting mechanism seems to be some form of RFID tag, or basically just a badge at the end of the day that signifies, hey, shoot this or don't shoot this. It's very, very primitive. So since you lack the badge, you get shot at. The complication is going to be that I'm actually going to lean on Dr. Early here a little bit. When you two sort of put your heads together and suss this out, Dr. Early, you notice that there's something warm trickling down the back of your leg in your environmental suit, and I think you know what it is.
Oh, I think I opened something up. Cole, help me get out of this suit.
Gotcha.
I attempt to get out of my suit so as I can assess the severity of my wounds.
Carlin will also come over to help because he has a little bit of medical background.
I might have to walk y'all through patching a hole in me.
I'll let Carlin take the lead on this one. AC and I'll provide cover. I'm not good. I'm patch. I make holes. I don't patch them, Doc.
You and me both, XO. Question.
Yes.
So there's an IFF, a physical IFF designator.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got 4 robots and 4 crew members. I would like to see if I can find some of them physical IFF designators.
Well, the good news is that, repairing bullet wounds, at least I figure in Star Trek times, it's not that hard. So while the good ensign is doing his wonder work, let's talk about your role here, Lieutenant Commander AC. So this would be probably I'm going to call it a daring engineering, not a control engineering. I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 4 as well. No, you don't have any momentum. I'm going to make it a difficulty of 3.
I would like to. I feel inspirited to discover the IFF transponders in these robots.
Well, that gives spend your determination to give you 3 momentum, so sure.
Then I will spend a momentum to do this. I have a toolkit, which should reduce my difficulty.
Down to a 2.
Jury rigging or computers are the only ones that would be relevant.
I'll give you computers. Computers.
Primitive, but computers.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
That's 3 successes, meaning you get that momentum right back. And chat's already redeemed another complication, which I'm going to save. So you are able, AC, you are able to pull out basically that RFID chip and give one to everybody. But as you finish doing that and as everybody finishes working on Dr. Early, your patient, that human person from earlier that you patched up, he begins croaking and he says, "Not safe, not safe." And he just keeps repeating that. And that's where we're going to take our 5 to 10 minute break. So we'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around. All right, welcome back a little bit early to part 2 of session 4 of Star Trek Drake. If you're just joining us, well, the players have beamed down to a seemingly strewn apart, destroyed Federation science outpost, and we're assaulted by Gatling gun-wielding egg drones. So that's always exciting. But where we resume, again, is after Dr. Early has been patched up. So Dr. Early, and this also applies to all of you, since this is technically a new scene, your stress resets. So you no longer have that 5 stress on your track. You reset to normal. Obviously you can still roleplay being in pain and all that, but it's purely flavor at this point. Like, it's nothing mechanical. But as you all are kind of, at this point, I would assume you all are either checking out the drones or you're around your patient. The patient's a little bit more lucid at this point, and he's kind of looking around at all your uniforms, and he looks directly at you, Commander Cole, and says, You're in charge, right? I kind of, those are Commander Pips, yeah?
Yeah, Commander Tucker Cole, USS Drake.
Janik Stoltz, I guess technically I was a liaison with the Vulcan Science Academy, but that really doesn't matter. And he kind of looks around, and he sees the destroyed egg. Oh, good, you got them. We
found... Go ahead.
No, sorry.
Let me
it's
stop.
just I don't know where to start. Obviously, the beginning might be a good point, but I maybe you should just ask questions. It hurts a lot to talk.
Take your time there, Stalls.
You said that there's danger, and we found a message from the Andorian that you shouldn't have gone someplace. Did you disturb something? Woke something up?
I think waking something up is probably more apt. We discovered what appears to be some form of a vault, I guess is what you would call it. If you go into the reactor room and then the room beyond it, there's a lift that goes straight down into the vault. But we just, we were scientists, we were archaeologists, we were more concerned with the science and the excitement of finding a treasure trove like this, a literally untouched vault.
You went down to the vault.
Yes, and everything was going well. I mean, we were collecting data, and we only really explored the one room, but I just remember most of us came back, and then what was his name? And you can see that he's like struggling to remember a name, but it's not coming to him. It's almost like one of those quote unquote senior moments where you're talking with someone and then you don't remember their name, but it's like, oh, I can't ask them their name kind of a situation. And eventually, Stoltz just finally says, one of the Vulcans. One of the Vulcans remained behind to sort of try and get through one of the doors we were having issues with. And I just remember when he came back up, he wasn't himself. He was erratic, violent. I mean, he tore at the consoles and anything with wiring, and we tried to subdue him, but next thing we know, those egg drone things were swarming us. I mean, I hid here in the habitat part of the base, but if you haven't found any other bodies, then I don't know what the drones did with them.
We haven't gone to the habitat section yet. We've only been to the main room and the infirmary.
So small clarification: the patient Stoltz came out of the habitat door.
Okay.
And the habitat portion isn't that glamorous. It's literally just kind of a trying to figure out distances here. It's like a dorm room at a college, but you're stuffing like 6 people into it. So it's a triple bunk.
Yeah, it's a bunk room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't been to hydroponics yet.
Correct.
Or the reactor.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So we need to definitely keep an eye on the reactor in case any more of the eggs come up from the egg carton down below. Now, my engineer found how they identify friend from foe. So we broke some eggs and we made an omelet. So we had 4 little ID badges.
See what you're doing there, sir. Nice.
I'm trying. It's weak, but I'm working it.
If I wasn't in immense pain, I'd be laughing right now.
We only have 4 of them. So you got to stay. Can you move? Can you?
And he tries to lift his arm, and he's like, "No, I don't want to move."
Help me, Commander. We'll get him into the bed. Yeah.
Can we get him up to the Enterprise?
The Enterprise, you mean the Drake?
Got to get us
To the
power
Drake.
here, sir.
Same thing, but bigger.
In the condition he's in right now, I don't know if I want to try transport until we get that pad working again.
All right.
But if you help me out, we'll get him up here on this bed and make him comfy. Mr. Stoltz, did anybody else start acting out of character that you can recall, or is it just that one Vulcan officer?
It was just that Vulcan. Why can't I remember his name? Just that one Vulcan that, once he started acting weird and the eggs came, and it just kind of gets real fuzzy after that.
Yeah.
Can we just run off the list of names of the crew that we know?
Sure, yeah. And when you do list off a name, you get a Patal. A Ptal was the name of the Vulcan. And he's like, Patal, that was his name.
Yeah. All right, Commander Cole, let me get this patient to bed and we can move on. I want to consult with you for a minute. Do we need to roll to get him up there, or we just kind of do it?
I just wanted, as a point of clarification, are you going to have him in one of the habitat beds or one of the infirmary beds? Because one is in the open, and the other is behind a sealable door. So I just wanted to be very clear where you were putting him.
I think in the medical bay. I mean, I know it's in the open, but I mean, if he takes a turn for the worse, I need to be able to treat him.
Okay. All right. Do you want him on the main table or one of the auxiliaries?
Main's fine now that it's unoccupied.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So you put him on the main bed.
I'm going to go ahead and sedate you, Mr. Stoltz, just so your pain's not bothering you. All right?
Just one thing.
Yep.
If you can't find the bodies, which by the sounds of it you haven't, their families are going to want to know. So I know it's dangerous as all hell, but you got to find the bodies. Gotta find what happened to him.
I follow. I'm gonna knock him out.
And he's out.
All right, folks. His memory is getting lost, and he should remember the name of his people if he lives on a planet with only a handful of others. I'm a little bit worried if we have evidence that someone who was exposed to this ruin started acting violent and out of character, that anybody else exposed to it might. And you may have noticed, but my EV suit or my environment suit there, not going to work no more. So everybody just needs to be very careful. And I'm not totally sure we can trust this fella not to flip out at some point.
Well, we can patch you up, but you just have been breached at this point. So whatever's in here is in your suit.
Now, as somebody who grew up on a starbase and a research starbase at this point, I can't in good conscience leave his suit with negative integrity. So I would like to repair his suit at this point. I realize it's, it may be futile, but I would like to do that anyway.
I'm going to give you two options, and maybe more if you want to come up with your own, but here's the two I see. You could expend one of your broken consoles that you got shot up instead of you. I'll say you can do hocus pocus, technobabble to make the components work for the suit. Or you could just call the Drake and be like, hey, we need more, more EV suits kind of a thing.
I was actually going to say, and I'd be willing to spend some kind of character resource to make this happen, that since he grew up on a starbase, if he ever leaves the ship in a suit, he's not going anywhere without a patch kit, period.
Oh, yeah, I like
End
that.
of
I
story.
like that. I do like that. Normally, I think you're supposed to have the personal effects talent that gives you access to this. But I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway. If you give me one momentum, you can patch it up, no check required.
Cool, done. And I will look to buy something like that at the next character milestone.
Yeah, personal effects is very nice if you have something like that, where the personal effect doesn't necessarily have to be static. Like, you can determine what it is almost every mission, as long as it's appropriate. It's what we did on Lesser Halls all the time, is we had a running gag personal effects item. So
cool, love it.
But yeah, Dr. Early, your EV suit is now, sealed as much as it can be at this point.
All right, folks. Now, we know that whatever's going on here can get in your head and at least affect one Vulcan's personality. So if anybody starts hearing voices, step one, don't take their advice. Step two, share that with the group. Okay?
Doc, are there any weird pathogens in him or, heaven forbid, in you?
My previous scans didn't find any. Let's check him one more time to see if anything shows up. I was thinking on my feet earlier.
Go ahead and give me a reason medicine, difficulty of 1. Two successes, you get a momentum back. Well, there are no bad news. It's all good news. No pathogens, no contaminants, nothing really to be super concerned about.
As I suspected, I think that this might be something that's a little more technological or perhaps psychiatric in nature.
Well, it's not unusual that some ancient ruins do have, I believe the term is booby trap left behind that could have been tripped.
I would like to use my tricorder and scan both the doctor and the patient. See if we've got nano machines or some such.
Okay. I'll give it to you free. No, you get the same results. Nothing weird here.
As the last check, Doc, what are our names?
Cole, Carlin, and Chatham.
All right, we'll keep checking every so often.
Righto. All right, well, I guess we best get on down. See what's going on here.
We need to take a quick look in quick look in the habitat hydroponics where the one that came from. One person in the door keeping an eye on the reactor area.
All right.
And the other 3 going to check the other rooms one at a time.
I'll check the bunkhouse. I start moving towards the door of the habitat, although I've had some bad experiences there.
Yeah, well, good news is that this time nobody falls on you. We'll go through the rooms in order because right now there's no real threats, so you guys can sort of take your time doing this.
No threat we know of.
This is true. You know, I didn't want to say that because that would maybe imply things. So I'm trying to give you a false sense of security.
It's working.
Yeah. So the good news is that when you check out the habitat, again, it's just a bunk room. There's maybe like a refrigeration unit where if you were to check, there's various frozen drinks, but nothing that's like a cocktail. It's just like, oh, this is Andorian, not whiskey, but like Andorian fruit juice, or this is Vulcan so-and-so. Like nothing you'd like, oh, I want to have this kind of a thing. You do note that there are no bodies in here. There are no bloodstains other than the ones that Stoltz left behind because, you know, he was kind of shot up. When you move to hydroponics, you actually find that the plants in here, all the fruits and vegetables, they have all died and frozen over since it has been about a week since power was cut. But you also find that there is a rather large hole in the back of the hydroponics bay that if you were to kind of look down and, you know, shine your flashlights down, you don't see the bottom of it. But to sort of frame it in architectural terms, there is only one door in and out of hydroponics. So connect the dots as you will.
And the hole happens to be egg-shaped or just big enough for the egg to come up.
Mm-hmm.
We found how the egg got into hydroponics.
AC, is there a way we can block this thing off? I sure hate to turn my back on it.
Let me see if I can fix this door.
So, do you want to electrify this door to give you like a barrier, or you just want to get the door working?
Right now, I think I would like to see if I can get the door working at all. Because if I can't get the door working, I'm not getting, you know, they probably don't have force field projectors on this door in the civilian station.
Well, you would if you turned on the reactor.
Well, yeah, but this would give us some protection now while I'm fixing it.
This is true. This is very true. All right. Give me just a control engineering difficulty of 1.
And I have a toolkit.
Would lower the difficulty. Yep, difficulty of 0. Though I would point out that every time... Okay, actually no complications. That's 3 successes, means 3 momentum. Very nice. So you are able to get the door working again. Since you succeeded so well, if you want to electrify it, you can. And I would say that if you really wanted to, you could also seal the door to the infirmary if you so wished.
That would be my guess, and I will spend 2 to do that.
I'll give it to you free. No need to.
Oh, okay.
No need to spend.
Well, we're overcap anyway. So.
This is true. This is true. Yeah. All right. In fact, yeah. Since you are over cap, I'm going to refund that Q power good. That way,
cool.
You guys can use it again. All right. So those are the first 2 rooms. Now, the reactor room is a little bit more involved. Now, the reactor itself is just, you know, your standard run-of-the-mill like fusion reactor, and the only reason it isn't running is because when power was cut off, you know, like the fail-safes that kept it from overloading or running out of control, those kicked in and shut the reactor down. So all you really have to do is just do a cold start on the reactor, and things will boot right back up. But what you're also noticing is that coming out of sort of the lower third of the room, again, if we were observing this room from above, coming from like the southeast direction leading off of the room, there is an umbilical corridor through which you are able to see there is a large elevator that is not part of the schematics for the base, which does corroborate, whatever the word is, does confirm what Stoltz was telling you earlier, that they found a lift that went down, or they added a lift that went down. And same thing with the hole in hydroponics. If you were to go and look down the lift, you do not see the bottom. It just goes right into darkness.
Anybody come into the reactor room with me, or is it just me?
Yeah, I'm covering.
Oh, we're doing the buddy system.
And one thing to think about, AC, if we turn the reactor back on, would we be giving power to whatever these eggs are in the facility where they are?
Sir, I was actually planning on disconnecting everything before I started. So I can bring the reactor online with minimal load, just the parts of the base that we currently inhabit, and then we could work on other systems as we go.
Perfect.
So that is my intent.
Let's see what the dice have to say. So it's a fairly standard operation. Really, just the difficulty is doing it correctly and not taking 6 hours to do it. So let's call this a control engineering difficulty of 3. And that's after accounting for your toolkits. And that is also accounting for, again, being in an EV suit. So you kind of balanced out there.
All right. I'm assuming this is a fairly standard reactor room. I would like to, since we have so many momentum, I will spend 2 momentum to create an advantage that the manuals for this are on the wall.
Yeah, you just kind of look at the wall and you're like, oh, well, okay. Step 1, pull this lever. All right. Step 2, push this button. All right. Yeah, I got this.
Well, more along the lines of, I understand how this plant works, so I can do what I'm trying to do, so that I can reroll a d20 if I must.
Fair enough.
And I'll spend 1 more to get another die. So we will control engineering, perform task, focus, 3 dice.
And thanks to that success, you actually do have the 2 successes you need to succeed, but you can reroll if you wish to crit fish.
I'll reroll the 17.
Rolling the 17. All right. Survey says doesn't get you anything, but also not a complication. So
yes.
You're good. You're good. So yeah, you fire back up the fusion reactor a little bit quicker than you were anticipating because you're just that good of an engineer. But you slowly bring systems online. You now have control over force fields. You now have control over life support. So if you wanted to warm things back up for a certain patient in the infirmary, you could.
Probably just that space, though. And then I'd also like to make sure that the transporter is functioning. So maybe we can send it back to the ship to where a doctor can look at it.
Yes. And you can, in
we
fact...
don't have to worry about them.
Exactly, yes. You can, in fact, repower the transporter pad, but what I'm going to tell you, and this is going to be the complication from chat, the complication is that you cannot have force fields and the transporter powered, meaning you have to make a judgment call which to do at this moment. It's not something where you go, oh, we're using the transporter for this and then powering it back down. The way this outpost is designed, it's very poorly designed. It can only power one at a time. And thanks to the damage of the outpost, you have to make a call here.
So it looks like we got some low bidder, some lowest bidder engineering here on this station. I could run the transporter or the isolation force fields.
Well, AC, I ain't interested. I'm not entirely sure I want to send him back to the Drake until we've ascertained exactly what happened here, just in case. So
force fields it is.
Yeah.
Do you need anything from the Drake?
No.
More power cells?
I don't think so at the moment, now that we've got the reactor operating. Though, and I do still have 2 power cells I haven't used yet. We could leave parts of the station powered down until we get there. I definitely want to make sure that lift is powered down until we're ready for it to not be.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll do a report back up to Captain Thalen as well, getting him spun up where we're at.
Anything the captain has to say on that?
I mean, he'll, of course, acknowledge what happened, and then, I think it's wise that you leave the patient on the planet just in case this is contagious. I would rather not have the rest of the crew decide to bring the ship out of orbit. So it's an excellent call. Do be careful and maintain comm channel as much as you can if you are going to embark on the lift to the lower level.
I just had this mental image of Ensign Ricky going insane and trying to destroy the ship by crashing it into a mountain, but instead just putting it in a perfect orbit.
Yeah, he would be the best pilot ever.
And you're
That was
not
one thing
wrong.
we didn't practice on the simulator.
All right, so we have computers now, one would think, theoretically, beyond this panel now that we have the reactor.
Well,
Do
I'd
we
love to
have-
look at the medical officer's log, even though it seems like from his last entry, he never did figure out what was going wrong.
I guess I should have asked, do we have computers now? I know that there seems to be a hostile or an adversary in the system.
Well,
What?
again, as a reminder, this entire time there's always been that low-level whisper of logs, just all the logs being read at once. Now, you could attempt to isolate one of the logs, other than the log you obviously got at the beginning of the session. It would just require a little bit of effort to go against whatever this intelligence is, whatever's in the system.
I would like to attempt to wrest control back.
Okay, so this is actually going to be an opposed test, and the way opposed tests work is basically you roll to see how many successes you get, and then I roll to see how many the adversary gets. And as long as you get more than the adversary, equal to or more than the adversary, you succeed. Now, the base difficulty is going to be a 1. So you have to get at least one success here in order to consider it being a success. But you are sort of motivated to spend momentum, spend threat to get those additional die for additional successes.
Is this a single check or
This is a single check,
extended
yeah.
check?
And I would say this is probably going to be a control engineering.
All right, I would like to remain looking at the manuals that are on the counter.
Okay.
And then how important are these computers to us? Sir, I might be able to dig something out of the computer if I work on it long enough. I can't guarantee anything, though. Is that something that we want to do, or do we want to just investigate? And you're muted.
At least I made it up to break.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to get as much information before we go down. We do have the RF tags now, but that just might keep us from the egg sentries. So they're always could have something else, and I'd like to know.
Yeah, when the robot chickens attack us, they might be more sophisticated.
All right, so
Whatever lays those eggs is what has me worried.
sounds like we would like to spend 3 momentum for 2 extra dice.
Let's see what you get.
Computers are a focus for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I can re-roll 1d20 for focus.
That is significant amount of successes. That is 5 successes, which is going to be very...
I'm going to fish that 19.
Fish that 19. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
with 6 successes, you actually get 5 momentum back because it was a difficulty of 1. And with 6 successes on the board, I'm not going to spend threat. I'm just going to say that this opposing force just fails. So whatever it is you do to knock off this opposing force, you do it with ease. And
It just so happens this system, or the computers in this system, are much like the starbase I grew up on,
there you
since
go.
that was a civilian kind of science station as well.
There you go. My only question is, since you succeeded so well, do you just want the CMO logs? Do you want other logs? What would you like out of the computer at this point? I will try to provide.
Folks, I think I've got this thing pretty much at my mercy, but I don't know how long it's going to stay up. So what are we looking for?
Well, the way I see it, we got 2 different mysteries we're trying to unravel here. What happened to that Vulcan officer and whether or not it can affect us? And I'm sure Ensign Carlin would love to know what they found out about them ruins, since the
Yes.
ruins are the most likely source of the eggs.
Yep. So
Yes, I was
two
going to
thing
suggest
operations.
the chief archaeologist's logs in addition to the CMO's logs.
Would that be
Can we do
acceptable? That because we did so well, each one of us can request a thing.
I mean, just M2's fine with me.
Okay, cool. Who's up first?
Let's parse through that doctor's logs and see what evidence and symptoms he found. Maybe I can piece together something that he overlooked.
All right, Doc. Here we go.
So, what you get from the doc is that Patal, that Vulcan that kind of lingered behind the rest, when he came back, again, he was belligerent, he was irrational. When the doc was able to sort of strap him down and sedate him, or at least try to sedate him, Patal was talking about voices, talking about making them happy, very things that you wouldn't expect a Vulcan to say. The conclusion of the doctor at the time, and let's actually give the doctor a name. Let's call him Dr. Sampson. So Dr. Sampson noted that the Vulcan Patal was exhibiting signs of a certain thing that comes around once every 7 years, if you catch my drift. But he also notes that he shouldn't have been that early, like he was 2 years early in that cycle.
Well, I can't draw a conclusion just yet, but there is some compelling evidence here. So Dr. Sampson said that Patal, the rogue Vulcan, was losing his marbles a little bit hormonally, as though his Ponfar had come on 2 years early, which is substantial. And he was hearing voices that he wished to please, like a sort of schizophrenic episode, I suppose.
That's not part of Panfar.
Yeah, I think something might have. Well, there's a lot of different psychiatric conditions, or in fact, neurological or brain conditions that can trigger hormonal responses in your body at abnormal times. Could have been something like that. In which case, there is at least a slight chance that this would only affect Vulcans or people with certain similarities neurophysiologically with a Vulcan. So that might be good news for us. Then again, we have not yet ascertained the fate of Mr. Patal. So I think everybody should be on their guard. Now, Ensign, what'd you find?
Oh, what did I find?
You'll have to remind me what you wanted, because again, they're doing night ops here and they're flying jet after jet.
Oh boy. I wanted to get the logs of the chief archaeologist to see what they were messing with underneath the base.
You're going to love me, because literally as you opened your mouth, guess what flew over my house again?
Oh no. I wanted the chief archaeologist logs to see what they were messing with underneath the base.
Got it. Okay. So what you find actually is that there is an audio sample that apparently they were able to get out of some computer or console down in whatever's down there. And I'm going to read this to you somewhat verbatim, but imagine there's sort of like a few like glitches in the audio where it's almost as if it's skipping a little bit, or if it's sort of like, we're all old enough here, I think. It's sort of like a VHS tape that's been used a little bit too much. So there's static, there's skipping, etc., etc., etc. But the message is as follows. Are you worried about the future of our planet? Who wouldn't be? After all, our best minds, our best scientists tell us we only have but so many years before our planet can no longer sustain life as we know it. But don't worry. We here at, and then there's like a screech or some sort of interference, we here at blank have a solution. We have a revolutionary survival complex situated beneath the main city. Now, this exclusive complex is powered by wind, solar, and backup generators, with hydroponic gardens and cutting-edge filtration systems. That means it can sustain over 150 residents indefinitely. And if there's one way to survive the edge of the world, you can assure that it will be in comfort. For the right price, of course.
Commander, I seem to have found a recording that they were able to retrieve from, I believe, a computer system below the base. It seems to be a sales pitch to save people from an impending planetary apocalypse.
So this must have been from the civilization that we see the ruins of here now.
That's what it would appear, yes.
Does this mean that there's at least some outside chance that there's 150 or so of those folks still around? In need of rescue, or?
They could be. Let me do a quick quantum date on the on one of the eggs. And did the file from did the recording have a
timestamp?
A timestamp, I guess.
Go ahead and give me a insight in science, difficulty of 2. And you actually have a focus for this.
Judging by the shirt collars, it was probably about the 1970s.
Oh.
All right. Well, I mean, this is no successes. So either you don't have, because it's a supporting character, you don't have determination.
Have a determination, no.
And the captain isn't in contact with you, so the captain can't give you his determination.
Nope.
So I think you're just going to fail here. You don't know.
Oh. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be a time stamp, so I can't... at this point, I'm not able to determine the age of the message or of the egg. We might be able to find out more if we go down there, but...
Well, heck, if there might be somebody in need of rescue down there, we pretty much have to.
Yeah. All right. Send it back up to Captain Thalen and let him know that we're headed down.
Captain acknowledges.
Can we use the... I mean, obviously this may fail later, but can we use the communication system of the base to allow us to boost our communicator signal such that we could theoretically talk to the ship while in the hole?
The good news is that you could set up such a connection, but something I neglected to tell you earlier, but I'm going to tell you now. When you do wrestle that intelligence, whatever it is in the computer, you can tell that it is coming from a connection down in the ruins, whatever those ruins are. So that connection to the ruins is still active. You didn't disconnect that completely. So just be aware that you could be exposing your ship to that if you, again, try to use it as a proxy, as if you use the station as a proxy.
This system's infected with some kind of active adversarial code. We probably don't want to use it to boost our communicators. We can't risk the ship.
Oh, here's a thought. What about talking to the intelligence?
It's worth a shot. I will.
Based on the technology that we were seeing with the drones, we may not be dealing with a terribly sophisticated artificial intelligence. If it isn't artificial intelligence at all, it may simply be a pseudo-intelligence that just executing programs.
Cantankerous computer virus. I feel you. Well, I'm all for going down there. I'm a little worried about whether or not we accidentally disrupted the life support of some people that are frozen in a vault somewhere.
Is there a significant power draw on this reactor that I would not expect to see?
I'm going to say no, there's not a significant power draw. The only thing that's really keeping power at this point is life support in an infirmary. But no, you're not seeing like any weird power draws.
No. Did you have to cut a lot of connections before?
I didn't cut them. I just turned them off. But are there any obviously non-standard circuits here that have kind of been patched in hastily or?
Give me an insight engineering difficulty of 2. And you have
Right.
jury rigging as a focus, so I'll give it to you.
All right, I'll spend 1 momentum to get an extra die.
Or successes, in fact.
All right.
You are you actually have 2 floating momentum if I can do math properly, so you actually could create an advantage based on what I tell you next.
Yes, I will do that. I will just yes. I will spend them immediately.
So how do I say this? Let me make sure I'm doing this 100% correctly. What is it you're specifically looking for? Are you looking for like alien circuitry? Are you looking for abnormal circuitry?
The
Or are
original
you
ask
just like
was the original ask was are there any non-standard connections to this reactor?
okay?
I
so
followed up
very
with
broad.
things that looked hasty or not done by the book. So
Okay.
if you would prefer me to have narrowed it that's as
No,
far as
no, that's fine. I just want to be sure because I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing a specific.
Mhm.
Yes, actually, if you were to go back into the main control room where you started this adventure,
Mhm.
you would see that someone was trying to replace the circuit boards with some alien version of circuit boards. Because apparently in Star Trek, aliens can just put in nice linear chips from who knows where and it instantly works.
Mhm.
And yeah, now that you know what to look for, you easily see that, yeah, had you tried to communicate with the ship or use this station as a relay, you would have sent what's in this system to the ship systems, and that wouldn't have been good.
Is the original hardware lying around, or is it
In
pieces on
pieces.
the floor? Yeah.
Yeah. Pieces on the floor.
Lovely.
Well, this system is thoroughly compromised. I will point to the obviously non-standard bits and bobs there.
Is that just communications, or is it actually drawing power from this reactor room?
The reactor is only being used by the station. It's not being used by whatever's in the ruin.
While they're discussing this, I would like to turn off the power to the medical bed that I have my patient in so that this malicious code can't, inject him with morphine or something.
Fair enough. Done.
I don't want
I've
to
gone
belabor the
ahead and
point.
detached the sickbay bed that Stoltz is in, so he ought to be safe from it.
Do you need that? Do you need that up, Doc, or are you satisfied with it down?
He's stable. As long as that room stays warm, he should be fine.
Well, you can put a power cell up to it.
I don't know if that bed can operate independently. It's not as resilient as the ones we're used to.
Got it.
Well, that and I don't want to be messing around with him until we have a better grip on what's going on.
All right,
Just to let it be.
Is he stable enough for us to head down? And are you stable enough?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just aches and pains at this point.
All right. What are our names again?
Well, Larry, Curly, and Mo. No. Cole, Carlin,
Okay.
Chatham, the triple C's.
Oh my God, that's right. Okay.
It's a K.
Well, it's a C for the rest of this mission here. I'm your commanding officer.
All right, sir. So
All right.
you want us to power up the lift? Is that correct?
Go for it.
Early pulls his phaser out, but doesn't point it anywhere.
I will grab my toolkit and a power cell and power up the lift from the reactor.
All right. And because we have to do all the tropes, the lift down into the darkness is like every stereotypical mining lift where it's open to the elements. It's just kind of surrounded on all sides by like a bare metal fence kind of a thing that if you really wanted to, you could hop over. You know, this is not OSHA standard.
Its lights are flicker.
Yeah, you know, the lights are flickering a little bit. And, you know, once you type in, you know, what floor or what level you want to go to, a red spinning light on the top begins to go. And
a horn.
Yeah, you know, standard cargo elevator. But as you all hop in and descend into the depths, you get about, we'll say about 300 meters down, a significant space down to the point where you look up and you can't even see the speck of light where you started. And you descend another 200 meters and you're like, okay, wow, this is really far down. You then see a light coming from below you. And a voice, the same sort of advertisement voice I used earlier, kind of a feminine voice, says, "Apologies, it appears that our drones are currently malfunctioning. Please make sure that your identification is in order, else you may require a visit to medical bay. But do not worry, all injuries and all healthcare is paid for as part of the Vault experience."
Uh-huh.
And as you get lower and lower, you eventually arrive at a door. And it's not quite like a Vault-Tec door from Fallout, but it's still very much a imposing bulkhead size. Like we're talking almost like, for those of you that know what an aircraft carrier looks like, you know kind of how they have that lift elevator that leads between like the engineering deck where they do all the maintenance and stuff to the actual flight deck. It's kind of that same aperture, just with a door over it.
Well,
Everybody has their RF tags.
Mm-hmm.
we ain't tested them yet, but I've got what AC gave me.
Yeah.
Are there any markings on the door that would help me
in fact, there's
piece
quite a
together
number
more
of markings. Yeah. So if you want to tricorder these markings, give me a let's call this a daring and a science, difficulty of 3.
Ooh.
While he's doing that, early will look over at
I'm going to
Cole.
use a momentum for an extra die, if that's all right.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Commander, I'm going to try and stick to the rear since I'm already shot up a bit, and also I'm the best qualified to patch people who run into hazards.
Sounds good.
Science Officer Ricky here.
Nope.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a complication. So it's a failure and a complication. So I think what's going to happen is,
My tricorder
Ensign,
blows
as you
up.
scan with your tricorder, some of the glyphs begin to light up, and the door goes clunk, clunk, and then there's a hiss, and it begins to open. And on the other side of the door are about 2 rows of 10 drones each. And that's where we're going to end today's session. We're going to make this a 2-parter. So, you're just going to have to tune in next week to see what happens to our intrepid adventurers. But yeah, that's all for today. Make sure you come back next week, or if you're on YouTube, catch the VOD. But this is where we're going to end for YouTube. So Twitch, stick around because we're going to rate somebody. But YouTube, we'll see you later.